Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome to the Wapple and Jaw Sports channel. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. This weekend of the NFL is Thanksgiving weekend, and the first game to kick it off is the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. The Lions are going into the game as the favourites, and this will be the 189th match between the two franchises. Green Bay have the overall head-to-head record, but Detroit have won 4 in a row versus the Packers, meaning that Green Bay haven't defeated Detroit since 2021. Packers last won in Detroit in the year 2020. The Packers, somehow, their season is still alive, even though the Chargers did everything they could to lose that game, and they did it beautifully. Packers, season still just alive. Detroit just getting the dub against the Chicago Bears. And this game could very much now be the same in my line of thinking, because it's a NFC North rivalry game. Thanksgiving weekend, the Packers will definitely come out to play on prime time, hopefully anyway, but so should to obviously the Detroit Lions, and I've got the Detroit Lions winning this game by 1-13. The second Thanksgiving contest emanates from AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys host the Commanders. The Cowboys coming into the game as big favourites. This will be the 127th match between the two, and it's Dallas who leads the overall head-to-head record at 76-48, with 2 draws thrown in there as well. This is the first time that these two rivals have met this season. Last year, Washington got their first win against Dallas since the year 2020, and that victory came at Dallas. But by and large, it's been the Cowboys that have dominated Washington for many, many seasons now. Last weekend, the Commanders getting swept by the New York Giants for season 2023. That's really disappointing. I thought they were a bit better than that, but that sees their season, in my opinion, now officially come to a close, and I'm a little bit off the Commanders as well for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, yeah, I'll subscribe to the fact or the notion that a lot of people are sleeping on them. A lot of people are sleeping on the Cowboys, so they got the job done against the Panthers in Carolina, big time. It should be a very, very similar scoreline this weekend against the Commanders, Cowboys by 14 plus. And the main event on Thanksgiving football day is one of, if not the best, in my opinion, it is the best rivalry in the NFL. The Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. This is my favorite game of the year. I know they're heated rivals, but I don't mind San Francisco. I just love the history. I love the animosity between the two franchises. One of my family members goes for the 49ers, so it's just the best whenever these two teams come head to head. On Sportsbet, the 49ers are $1.26 favourites. Seattle are $3.66 outsiders. This will be the 51st edition of the NFC West rivalry game, and it's the Seahawks who have the overall head-to-head record at 30-20. However, Seattle, they have lost 3 in a row against the San Francisco 49ers, and all 3 of those losses came in last season, which includes that painful wild card elimination loss in Santa Clara, meaning the Seattle Seahawks haven't defeated the 49ers since 2021. But before last year, Seattle well and truly were dominating the San Francisco 49ers for quite a while there, I'd say, or I'd suggest maybe 5 years or so. Last weekend, Seattle, boy howdy, that's a really tough loss to take. Seattle, they were up 13-0 at one stage against the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium, but then the discipline just fell all to hell in a handbasket, and they had the opportunity to win the game with a field goal with seconds remaining on the clock, but unfortunately it was sprayed to the side. It's a real disappointing loss, because as everybody is mentioning, and I'll mention it again as I did last weekend, Seattle Seahawks have got a hellacious run, a hellacious couple of weeks that include Philadelphia, Dallas, San Francisco once more, including this weekend. It's a rivalry game, so I believe in the boys that they can get the job done. Obviously, San Fran, they are back on track. They were never gone. They just fell into a bad 3 week period there, but they're back. And this is a huge game up at Lumen Field, man. San Fran last weekend, they did it comfortably against Tampa Bay. I thought they could have blown them out a little bit more than what they did in the end, but so be it. Yeah, obviously I'm tipping the Seattle Seahawks get the job done. Geno Smith did go off in the game last weekend with an injury concern. He should be okay to play in this game. The main concern is Kenneth Walker III. I believe he is under an injury cloud and is in doubt for this game, whereas the San Francisco 49ers are, by and large, healthy as. They're really, really healthy. But that's not going to save them because the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to win this rivalry game. This is my favourite game of the year, twice a year when it comes around, sometimes 3 times a year. Seattle, 14 plus against the 49ers at home. Come on, you Seahawks. Okay, so those 3 games were all on Thursday. This is the Black Friday game, the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins from MetLife Stadium. And at the start of the season, even about 4 weeks into the year, this was looking like an absolute blockbuster, but it could be anything but just quietly. The Miami Dolphins are going to come into the game as the favourites. This will be the 116th edition of the match, but it's just a slight advantage to the Dolphins at 58-56, with one tie thrown in there as well. This is the first time that these 2 divisional rivals have met this season, and it's all been Dolphins for a really long time. The Dolphins have won 11 of the past 14 games since 2016 against the New York Jets. Last weekend, the Jets, they got destroyed against the Buffalo Bills, who were seeking revenge after they copped a shock week 1 loss. And the Miami Dolphins looked really rusty. They had the Germany loss. They had a bye. They played against the Raiders last weekend. They just scraped through to get the dub at home in front of their fans. So they should be better for the run. And I'm going to say the Dolphins win this by 14 plus. We're then off to Lucas Oil Stadium to see the Colts versus the Bucks. This will be the 16th edition between the 2 franchises, and the Colts have the overall head-to-head record at 8-7. And in my opinion, it's a bit surprising that the Colts are $1.73 favourites. The Bucks are $2.11 outsiders. This is the first meeting since 2021 between the 2. Tampa Bay won on that occasion in Indianapolis, 38-31. As a matter of fact, a lot of their history, a lot of the 16 games these 2 sides have had against each other, it's been really high scoring. The Colts last defeated Tampa Bay back in 2015, but Tampa Bay have won 3 of the past 4 since 2011. Last weekend, as I mentioned just a moment ago, Bucks lost to the San Francisco 49ers, and I believe the Colts had the bye last weekend, I believe. I might be wrong about that. Yeah, this is a tough game. I didn't anticipate that the Colts would be the favourites, actually. I thought it'd be something akin to either $1.90 each way or just like $1.85 to $1.90, even if it was Colts to be the favourites. Yeah, tough game to pick, man. I would suggest that the loser of this game, their season is officially over, so it is a big game in the context of both of these sides' seasons. I'm gonna go the Bucks. I'm gonna go the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. Well, here is a shot of nostalgia. The New York Giants versus the New England Patriots. Holy dooly, haven't these 2 sides had have had some high profile contests against each other. This will be just the 14th meeting between the two, however, and it's New England who have the overall head-to-head record at 7-6. But on a couple of those occasions, they lost the biggest games of all. And the Patriots are coming into the game at about $1.56. The Giants are coming into the game at about $2.40. The Giants have won 2 in a row, or they got the upset win against the Commanders rather convincingly, actually, last weekend. The Patriots, they had themselves the bye last weekend after they could not move the ball at all the week before. I don't know how the Patriots are coming into the game as favourites when the Giants have, at the demise of Daniel Jones, they're just playing with a little bit more pepper in their game. It's not much, but they've been doing a little bit better over the past 3 weeks or so. A little bit more pride in the jersey. If you want to have some nostalgia about this rivalry game, and I would say it's a rivalry just because of the history between the two. Go back and watch those 2 Super Bowls they played against each other and some of the games in between. But yeah, this is going to be a far cry from what those games were, man. This could be a really ugly game. And I'm actually going to take the value, and I'm going to say the New York Giants, who are just playing better footy at the moment. Patriots are coming off the bye. They could be rusty. I'll say 1-13 New York. The Cincinnati Bengals then host the Pittsburgh Steelers, and on Sportsbet, the Steelers are $1.80 favourites. The Bengals are $2.02 outsiders. This will be the 108th game between the two. Steelers have the record at 68-39. However, the Bengals have won 4 of the past 6 since 2020. And again, however, this year, the Steelers did defeat the Bengals at home. So it is a competitive rivalry, but Joe Burrow last weekend, it is the big story in the NFL, or one of, that Joe Burrow's season is over. A young man who will make his debut at quarterback this weekend for the Bengals steps in. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, they went down to the Cleveland Browns, who were without their main star quarterback in Deshaun Watson, only able to score 10 points. And the Steelers, they executed their offensive coach midway through the week. So Steelers fans, they are absolutely up in arms about that. So without Joe Burrow, and I believe maybe T. Higgins for another week for the Bengals, they're going to lack a little bit of firepower. They could be sparked up by it, just to say, let's do this for Burrow and let's get stuck into our rivals. But the Steelers, now that quote unquote the shackles are off them, I think the Steelers can go to Cincinnati and get the job done, just because there's just too much uncertainty about what the Bengals could produce this weekend. I'm going to go the Steelers, but I am a little bit weary of how this young man at quarterback is going to go for the Bengals and how Cincinnati will respond to the loss of Joe Burrow for this season. But Steelers, I'll go 1-13. The next matchup emanates from Nissan Stadium. The Titans host the Panthers. This will be just the 7th edition of the game, and the series is tied at 3 apiece. On Sportsbet, the Titans are pretty big favourites at $1.50. The Panthers are $2.60 outsiders. They last met in 2019. Carolina won on that occasion. Tennessee last defeated Carolina in 2011, but not at home. They haven't defeated the Panthers in front of their home fans in Titanland since 2007. So the Panthers have, in recent years, got it on the Titans. I am completely off the boys from Tennessee, but I realise the Carolina Panthers are the worst team in football at the moment, unfortunately. I don't want to tip either side. I would walk away from this game, but with a gun to the head, I'm going to say that the Titans win 1-13, but don't colour me shocked. Do not colour me shocked if the Carolina Panthers somehow won this game. Now, this game right here, I know the Seattle and San Fran, I declare every time they play each other, is the game of the weekend. But this really is the game of the weekend. Two franchises coming head to head at a time where they're both good. They're both on track to play playoffs. One team is going to have their hopes dented big time in this game. The Texans versus the Jaguars. This is a hugely important game considering they're both in the same division. And on Sportsbet, the Jaguars are $1.80 favourites as they travel to Texas to take on Houston, whereas the Texans, they are $2 outsiders. This will be the 44th game between the two. However, the Texans dominate against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's 29-14 in the overall head-to-head to Houston. The Texans have won 10 of the past 11 meetings since 2018, and they won by 20 points against Jacksonville in Florida earlier this season. So they've got the job done against the boys from Duval County this year already. Jacksonville, also, this is history that goes against them. Jacksonville have not won in Houston since 2017. The Jaguars have got so much history to overcome to win this contest this weekend. They did get back to formula with a big win against the Titans. The Texans just holding on against the Arizona Cardinals this past weekend. I'm going to go the Jaguars. I think their defense is going to be a little bit better than the Texans. I feel like there's a little bit of momentum running out for the Texans. I'm going to go the Jaguars to win this game in a close one and a beauty. Here's another rivalry game for you. The Falcons take on the Saints at home. On Sportsbet, the Falcons are slight favourites at $1.84. New Orleans are outsiders at $1.97. This will be the 108th game between the two franchises, and it's even at 54 wins apiece. This will be the first meeting between the two rivals this season. New Orleans, however, have won 9 of the past 12 against the Falcons since 2017. Atlanta, they have not won at home against the Saints since 2017, the same year. And just in general, they have not defeated the Saints since 2021. The Falcons, last weekend, I think they had themselves the bye. The Saints, they did have themselves the bye. I think I'm going to roll with the Saints on this one, man. I think the Falcons are just too... It's not even inconsistent. They just seem to make too many decisions that shoot themselves in the foot. I think the Saints, they play just a bit of a more confident-inducing style of football. I'm going to go the New Orleans Saints, but this is a true flip of the coin game. The Arizona Cardinals then host the Los Angeles Rams, and on Sportsbet, the Rams are $1.80 favourites. The Cardinals are $2. This will be the 94th game between the two, and it is LA who have the record at 51-40 with 2 draws thrown in there as well. They did meet earlier this season, and the Rams won very convincingly. And the Arizona Cardinals, this is a hell of a stat. The Arizona Cardinals, they host the Rams every single year, and they have not defended home turf against a Rams outfit since 2014. Coming on 10 years since they last won in front of their home fans against a Rams outfit. The Rams, unfortunately, getting the dub last weekend. The Cardinals going down in a close game against the Texans. I'm going to go the LA Rams to win this game in a close one. We're then off to Mile High Stadium to see the Denver Broncos host the Cleveland Browns. On Sportsbet, the Denver Broncos are $1.79 favourites. The Browns are $2 outsiders. I thought it'd be a little closer than that. I know that is close, but this is going to be a tough game to try and decipher. The Denver Broncos have the overall head-to-head record at 24-7. This will be the 32nd game between the two in history. They last met in 2021. Cleveland won on that occasion. Last time Cleveland travelled to Denver and won was in 2018. Browns, their defense will get them to the playoffs. I'm so close to being convinced about that and locking that in. That defense is supreme. They're going to have their hands cut out for him this weekend because Russell Wilson, he's starting to find some. Look, he has been decent all year, but he's really starting to hit his straps here as they're on a 4-game winning streak. They won a beauty against the Vikings this past weekend. I don't know how Russell Wilson is going to go against this Cleveland Browns defense. On the opposite side of that, this Broncos defense is nothing to sneeze at either. And the young man at quarterback is going to have himself a hell of a time. This is a true flip of the coin game. Oh, man, this is really tough. I'm going to say, just because the young man at quarterback for Cleveland is still a touch unproven or is still unproven, I'm going to say Russell Wilson could do something, but that Broncos defense has got to stand and deliver again. I'm going to go the Broncos to win 1-13. At the start of the season, this was circled as one of the biggest games of the year, and while in recent times a lot of anticipation, momentum around this fixture would have dropped, this is still a big game, especially if the away teams show up. The Philadelphia Eagles host the Buffalo Bills this weekend. The Eagles are coming into the game as the favourites. This will be the 15th edition between the two franchises, and the Eagles lead 8-6. Philadelphia have won 4 of the past 5 since 2003. They last met in 2019 at Buffalo, and the Eagles won on that occasion. Buffalo last won against the Eagles in 2011, but they have not won in Philadelphia since 1996. Eagles with a huge come-from-behind victory against the Kansas City Chiefs in last weekend's mega primetime game. The Buffalo Bills getting back on track against confidence-less New York Jets, getting a big-time victory. It's not like the Buffalo Bills are back, but they travel to Philadelphia this weekend and get the job done. They will be. I don't think they will though, man. This Philadelphia side, they didn't play their best football at all to beat the Chiefs. I know Chiefs sort of shot themselves in the hands a couple of times, but Philadelphia, they're just getting the job done, bro. And they've only had the one loss for the season against the New York freaking Jets. Holy. I'm going to go the Philadelphia Eagles to get this game won by, I don't know, I'll say 1-13. For the 129th time, we've got the Raiders versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs coming into the game as the favourites. They have the overall head-to-head record at 72-54 with 2 ties thrown in there as well. They've won 5 in a row versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas last defeated the Chiefs in 2020. The Raiders have not defended home against the Chiefs since 2017. But since the Raiders became Las Vegas and moved into Allegiant Stadium, the Chiefs are undefeated inside that stadium, and they'll be stinging. They'll be absolutely burning after going down to the Philadelphia Eagles in front of their home fans last weekend. The Raiders were in that game against the Dolphins last weekend in Miami. They had their chances, but I'm still going to say the Chiefs get the job done, 1-13. The Sunday night football game is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Baltimore Ravens from SoFi Stadium. The Ravens are the favourites coming into the game, and this will be the Ravens' first ever trip to the brand new SoFi Stadium. This will be the 15th game between the two franchises, and the Ravens have an 8-6 overall head-to-head record lead. The Los Angeles Chargers defeated the Baltimore Ravens in 2019 in a playoff game, but they last met in 2021 and the Ravens won on that occasion. The Ravens, are they now the best team in the AFC? It's an argument. Yeah, it's an argument. I thought the Ravens, yeah, I actually didn't know what to make of them at the start of the season, but I've always said that you can never take this side lightly. You always got to give them a little bit more credit than what you think they should deserve. And yeah, they're thereabouts. I don't know. I'm just not over the line with them yet. They are definitely one of the teams in the entire NFL. Just, I don't know. There's just something about them that I think they might be susceptible to a huge slip up when the big moments come around later on this year, but happy to be proven wrong. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Chargers, that's all they can do is slip up in the big moments, and I don't know what's keeping the Chargers from firing Brandon Staley. That dude needs to go. It is time. Justin Herbert, he is playing his ass off. The rest of his side, the tactics being employed by the coach, it's not working. It won't work again this weekend. Ravens by 14 plus. And then finally on Monday Night Football, the Vikings host the Bears in a divisional rivalry game. The Vikings come into the game as favourites, but the Bears do have the overall head-to-head record. And seeing as last weekend the Bears nearly pipped the Detroit Lions, and I've said this weekend already, or in this video already, that rivalry games leads to wild results. I'll give the Bears half a sniff here. I'll say the Vikings still get the job done, but this is it's going to be pretty close, I imagine. But I'm going to say the Vikings get the job done with the Pastronaut this weekend. Oi! Thank you very much for the continuous support, guys. I hope you enjoyed listening to this video. What a season of NFL it's been. Have a very nice weekend. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Adios.